again, this is an excellent point that you raise about the terminology they use, right? So instead of saying mercenaries, which is what they are, they call them contractors, right? And in the media, you'll see also how when they're talking about the suffering that the United States and the EU have inflicted on Cuba, Yemen, Syria, with sanctions, they don't say sanctions, they say economic situation, whatever that means. It's absolutely incredible. I swear, go and look at any mainstream media report from CNN, Deutsche Welle about Syria, about Venezuela, about Cuba. They always say this term, economic situation, and they tell you that people are suffering, and it's true. But why are they suffering? Why won't you say embargo? Why won't you say sanctions? Why won't you reveal the truth? Why do you hide this key detail? They make it seem, they try to frame it in a way as if the local government is wholeheartedly 100% responsible for all of the economic woes and discontent and suffering that people are put through. This is ridiculous. I mean, again, I hate having to make this disclaimer. Like, you know, there are people who think that like every time you criticize Western foreign policy, which should be criticized all the time because of how how rampant it is, they think that, oh, you must also make a disclaimer, but oh, you know, so and so is bad. Like, yes, U.S. foreign policy is bad, but Maduro is also... Fuck you. I don't have to give you this bullshit colonial disclaimer. This is crap to keep you in a box, to keep you brainwashed, right? Like, as if those two things are equal. Like, as if U.S. foreign policy and U.K. foreign policy are equal to any problems or corruption or whatever that exists in other countries. Every country has corruption. But the things that the U.K. does, the things that the U.S. do, centuries of colonialism, centuries of exploitation, centuries of slavery, centuries of plundering. They're still fucking plundering. They're still robbing. They're still killing. They're still stealing. They're still occupying. And you think that's fucking comparable to Bashar al-Assad or Maduro or Cuba? Go and fuck yourself. Go and screw yourself. I'm not making this bullshit colonial disclaimer every time. Screw you. This is what they do to try to change the topic and shift the focus away from the crimes of the U.S. empire, of the West. They're not equatable. Al-Qaeda is not just as bad as Bashar al-Assad. Fuck you. No, I'm not tolerating that. The MEK, the People's Mujahideen, is not just as bad as the Iranian government. These groups are far fucking worse, and they're sponsored by the West, and they're sponsored by Iran's enemies and Syria's enemies. They're a million times worse. What are you talking about? That's not comparable. And every single time you hear this, it's always people who don't come from these places, right? You have all these fucking big brain bozos who think that they're experts on Syria, and they've never even been to Syria. They probably can't even name any city in Syria apart Damascus. They don't even know how to speak the language. They don't know the history. They don't know the culture. They just watch some fucking Vice documentaries. They watch some crappy videos and read some Wikipedia articles and think they're experts. They think they're qualified. On what basis are you qualified to talk about Syria? What are your qualifications? Who said you know anything about this subject? Who said you're qualified? What are your credentials to speak about Iran? What are your credentials to speak about these countries? All of your media, all of your intake comes from English-speaking media, from the Anglosphere, which is completely permeated and rampant with propaganda. You don't know anything except propaganda. How could you be qualified to talk about this issue? You don't even make an effort to listen to the people from this country, who are from there, who are born there, who have family there, who have lived there. You don't even make an effort. You think you're a fucking smartass. This is, again, you know, and then they call themselves anti-interventionist. And oh, I'm a leftist. You're a fucking white, arrogant, colonial bastard. That's what you are. You're indoctrinated and fucking brainwashed. You're no different from the bastards at the State Department. You're no different from some ignorant schmuck on the street. I don't care about your opinion. It's just an opinion. It's uninformed and ignorant. You're not qualified to speak about Iran or Syria or Iraq or the Middle East. You don't know your ass from your elbow. Have you even been outside the United States? Have you even left your fucking country? What do you know of these places? Every asshole thinks that they have the right to have an opinion about Syria, about, again, a country that their government is vilifying and bombing and sanctioning and starving. They think they're more informed than the people who come from the country, than its own citizens. Unbelievable arrogance. Unbelievable arrogance.